bear. With Candie Bolton. Yeah.
Oh my god, I missed those intros. Yeah, welcome to Robot and the Bear podcast. I'm Eric Nakamura.
I'm Luke Chu.
I'm
We're with
Candie
Candie Bolton. Welcome everybody.
Yes, I think we've kind of decided that, like, this is it. Is this going to be a Zoom thing? It's going to be online, because I think the last time we did it, last time we had Miss Kelly Sucks, and it was just a technological catastrophe. It was it was mayhem. And I think we realized that, like, Zoom is the way to go, even though all three of us right now are in Los Angeles.
Right.
Yeah.
Yes.
Yes. Because, and the reason why we're all here in Los Angeles is because of Candie Bolton showing at a giant robot gallery.
Yes.
Congratulations on the show. It was amazing.
Thank you. Yeah, thanks for being there at the opening.
It was a very different show from I think what most people, it feels like you've been building up this, developing this new kind of sexy girl style for a couple of years now.
Mm-hmm. I think it started with Animal Crossing.
Yeah. Wow. Yeah, I was there during the conception of it. And because I was looking at the show and I thought to myself, when Eric set this show up, Eric must have, like, because it was with Mr. Leo Frontini.
Yeah.
Mm-hmm.
Yeah. I did. And you see the work that he's showing. It's beautiful. His half of the show is also beautiful and very painterly, like. And then you think about, like, older Candie Bolton stuff, and it would have segued into each other, like, pretty fluidly, because there was that very high detailed surrealistic kind of aspect to your older work. But then, like, it was just like sexy girls and then surrealism.
Yeah, so I think I used to do more of like pop surrealist style for sure.
But and from I understand there was supposed to be a third artist that could have worked as a segue, but I guess it didn't work out.
Yeah, or fourth even. But then I think it was. I think what happened. I remember what happened was Leo was making a lot of work, and then I think Candie was. I remember you said you were pretty, like, you were hustling too. So I was like, okay, let's just drop anybody else, and which I didn't have anybody else booked yet anyway, but I was going to, and I thought, I think this two can just handle it, and it's even better that way. I'm happier this way. I don't know if you are, but I was happier this way. So I was kind of into the idea of just having two people and having them kind of different, and that's okay. I mean, different enough, but both painting, and there's still similarities actually, but in terms of maybe the ideas, some of the concepts, but overall, I just think it's better this way. Two people too similar would just be really, maybe that'd be worse,
Right. Yeah. Like having a two artists with two distinct voices, definitely makes it more interesting. I guess it's just still an interesting show regardless. And Leo does do a lot of feminine characters, so but how was it for you? You also showcased some of the toys that you've created.
Yeah, that was I almost didn't bring any toys, but Eric suggested it. He thought it would be a little strange if I didn't have any toys featured, and I'm really glad that he made that suggestion. And I happened to do those, I think, like the last 2 weeks I had to prepare for the show. But those, I think, ended up being like some of people's favorite pieces from the show because the bakezame seem to be pretty popular.
Which one's that?
So that is the clear soft vinyl toy that has the shark head on it that was in the show.
Yeah. This is when our future editor would insert a photo of the the toy.
So but that's part of a series, right? Because it was it a Bake Kujira before, and
like
so it's part of a series, yeah.
That was a larger toy that was Bake Kujira, and I wanted to make a smaller version that had more joints, and so could like move its arms and stuff. Because the original design was more of like a sculpture. It was something that you like wouldn't really play with. You just put it on your shelf. So the idea behind this one is that it had more playability to it, and it has two different heads. So there's one that is still like the Bake Kujira character, the whale head, or like it's kind of like a narwhal because it has like the horn on it. And then I made a different like shark head character for it as well. But that one's been out for like about 3 years, I think, maybe more now. It's hard to keep track.
Oh, there's still time, man. I mean, the thing about Sofubi is that you are able to do small runs, and so you're not smashing out 1,000 of them at a time. Or are you?
Not me, but I mean, some people might be.
So like you're doing batches of these, and then embellishing them and then throwing them out into the world, right?
Yeah, I usually do very small runs of my toys. I think I get really bored if I have to paint the same paint style too many times. So I like to change it up.
I kind of forget how there's levels to everything. So I could name it people who make sofubi with no color, no paint, right? It's just the color of the sofubi and you run with it. Mm-hmm. Candie's has like a very elaborate paint job using masks, and I didn't realize. I was like, I don't really think about how people paint things. And can you talk about that just a little bit? I know there's like masks, and I didn't even know how those worked until you explained it once, and I was like, oh my gosh, so neat.
Yeah, I started playing with the idea of using masking tape, and you can just use like a normal like thing of tape and like wrap it around, which is better with like if it's a very smooth design without much detail, like a robot or something, then you can like actually put just tape around it, and then it's like now there's a line that goes through the paint. But I've been using big plain sticker sheets. They're like Tamiya masking sheets, and then I make the designs for the shapes in Illustrator, and then I use a Cricut maker to cut out those shapes. And then I keep layering on those different shapes on top of each other to create different like patches of paint colors. So when I'm putting the sticker over a certain color of paint, I'm basically saying like preserve that color of paint right there in this shape of like, usually I do like sakura flowers. But in this case, I was doing like the little sparkle thing. And then it allows me to have like that really cool, like sharp detail that looks almost like hand painted, and it cuts down on time for me because I'm not actually hand painting it. I'm using a sticker. And then I can also layer in different types of paint. So I'll do like a sparkle that's like a gradient of pink to yellow. And then right next to it will be a sparkle that's in metallic gold paint. And then on top of all of that, then I do like the background color too. And actually the background color is the last step of the process for me. Most people think that that's like the first thing that I do, but it's the very last part of it.
So when you're applying your masks on, do you have do you have it pretty well mapped out, like how exactly you want to put these designs onto the thing, or are you just kind of winging it?
I'm just winging it. I don't know how it's going to turn out. Like, I just start with a gradient color, usually something that I think would be fun to do, or maybe like some colors that I haven't done yet. And sometimes it works and sometimes it doesn't. But like, even if I'm not super in love with the end result, people usually still like how it looks, so
Mm.
it just works out somehow.
What about the masking? Oh, sorry about that. There's masking that you do for like, is it the like fingernails, or is it teeth and stuff like teeth maybe? Like
Yeah.
that's not just using masking tape. That you have a different mask for that, right?
Yeah, so those are usually when the factory is painting my toys, and then they have what are called like metal paint masks, and that is actually like a manufactured paint mask for the toy, so that when you place that metal mask over it, like it only leaves like just the teeth exposed, so then you can just like hit it with an airbrush and then it paints like just the teeth.
How do you do that? Like, is that something you have to ask for, or is that just really
Well,
complicated? Because you can't do
I've
that on your own, right? You have to get that made at a different factory, maybe.
I've seen some people kind of make their own, I think using like different types of clay and stuff. You can kind of just like form it over the toy and do that, and then find a way to like pull it off in one piece.
Oh my
Or maybe you have
god.
to like, like put it together or something. But that is not very durable. And obviously, if it's a metal one, then it's like going to last you ideally forever. But they are like really thin pieces of metal. So over time, like if you drop it, it could get bent, and then it might not like fit perfectly around whatever like curvature of the toy. So you still have to be like pretty gentle with them. But those metal paint masks, you have to get manufactured, usually in Japan or China. I usually just work through whatever factory I'm having the toy produced at. They will help me find like the person who makes the paint masks and get that done for
Wow.
me. I just have to tell them like what parts I need them for, and then they'll get it done. But it's not cheap, and it's not quick either to get those
Mm.
back. And then usually when you have those metal masks, you will want to keep it at the factory so that they can do factory painted runs for you. But if you want to use them yourself, then they'll like, ship them back to you, or maybe you'll make like two sets of them. But then it obviously gets pretty pricey.
How much on the average do like? I mean, assuming that the middle mass, because I don't recall seeing you were posting a lot of videos of work in progress things for this last show. Um, but I might have missed the video where I saw where you were employing these metal masks. Did you post one or?
No, so I don't have any in my possession actually. The ones that I have for my Kitsura toy, those are at the factory.
Mhm,
And I was considering getting like a second set made for myself, but I
mhm,
haven't gotten around to that yet. But I got a chance to use some when I was at a friend's factory, and he let me do like a painted run of his toy. So I got to try
mhm,
out using those metal masks. And it's funny because they make those with the intention of speeding up the process. But even though it does make it quite a bit easier, but there's still like a little tricks to it where like if you do it wrong, then you mess up, and then you have to redo it and everything. So it's also quite a tedious process involved in that.
mm. I've never had very good luck with masking for whether it's my own customs or customs of my own toys, or in like my hobbying, which is scale modeling. And I always kind of feel like paint inevitably seeps underneath the tape.
Mm.
um is that Do you think that's the byproduct of just me not applying the tape well enough, or is it me you know putting the can or you know the aerosol paint too close to um the surface of the subject that I'm painting?
So you're usually painting like Gundam model kits. So what type of plastic are they made out of?
Oh, those are polystyrene.
So I don't have much experience painting those. It might be a different process, and I could see how maybe the paint could like easily run underneath the sticker masking in that case. Maybe there's like a fixative you need to use before you're using it.
Yeah, so I was just thinking about it to myself, and I figured I'd, ask you simply because of the fact that you work with airbrushes and
Hmm.
aerosolated paints. And I was thinking, well, maybe the problem is that I'm trying too hard to get it all done in one shot. And maybe if I just kind of patiently dusted the paint onto the surfaces, the paint would dry before it has a chance to um like
Get too watery and seep
yeah,
under
and
it.
bleed and
Yeah.
bleed. Like that's the thing
Uh,
about airbrushing, right? Like airbrushing is all about the control of the paint, of the atomized paint. You can be able to put little sprays versus big, heavy, like spray can
mhm.
sprays, right?
Yeah, yeah, because the you have way more control over an airbrush.
Mm,
Yeah. But also it's a type of paint that you're using because like when I'm doing my sticker masking, I'm using vinyl paint on top of vinyl. So the
mm,
vinyl paint is like intended to be used with the vinyl and it like sticks better to it.
mm.
So maybe you need to use a paint that adheres better to the surface, or maybe you're like thinning it too much because then it would be too watery.
I'm literally just pulling like Tamiya cans, those little mini Tamiya
Oh, you're
cans that,
using spray cans, not an airbrush kit.
right. Yeah.
Oh, okay.
Yeah, because
Oh, aerosol can.
yeah, I think about what it takes to like clean an airbrush, and I get super discouraged.
Yeah, there was like a big learning curve with that for me because I remember the first time I had to like really get in there and like take it all apart because there was a clog in it.
Mm,
And it was kind of nerve-wracking because I was like, wait, now I have to remember how to like put it back together. But now I've done
mm.
that like so many times that it's like I can never forget that.
Oh, really?
And but it's messy and yeah, it's toxic and it's bad to get on your skin. It's bad for you to inhale it. So you, like having all of the safety precautions in mind is annoying too.
Do you have what kind of spray booth are you using?
I just have a homemade one, but I'm trying to get like a really nice metal one from Hong Kong. I hope that I can save up enough money and finally get one. I want the
How
kind
much
that's
does
like,
the
how much do
well,
they
how much?
cost?
Yeah, I'm curious. Like, just like
Uh,
in general, like, because the only spray booths that I'm familiar with are like the Master Airbrush spray booth that is
hmm.
about so big.
So the kind that you see in like Sofubi factories that the professionals are using and stuff, they're professionally made for them. So you have to give the size specifications and they'll build it for you. It's made out of metal and um, so it depends on what size you're getting. But also, like the best part about these booths is that they have like a waterfall in the back, and so that like pulls in the particles into the water,
Oh,
and so you don't have like
cool.
dust, going everywhere that you have to like clean up and like scrape off of your booth. It all gets like collected by the water, and it goes. I think there's like some kind of like filter system and stuff. So that's what I wanted is really like easy cleanup and it I think it like helps prevent the particles from like going into the air and everything. So maybe you don't need to wear a mask so much like around it. I would probably still wear a respirator when I'm using it, but
Right.
I think it would like make the air like significantly cleaner too. And
Mm.
those are pricey obviously because they're made to order. You specify the size and they make it for you, and then I think I'd be ordering it from Hong Kong. They would need to like ship it to me. I mean, it's probably like I'm guessing it's going to be around like 5,000.
Oh, wow.
Wow.
But it's
Wow.
something
That's
that like I
impressive.
really want, and I would use it, I like all the time.
Sure. Sure. Absolutely. Wow. I never knew that kind of thing existed.
Yeah, that sounds cool. That's the way to go. It seems like
Yeah.
you should have all that stuff though, because I mean, I know there's people that paint with airbrush and they paint sofubi here, but I don't know. It just seems like um, the people that do it. I mean, there's not tons that I know of. It just seems like most people I know still they make the toy. It's already painted. they're not doing that much custom work to it. And every time I hear about the custom work, it's always somebody overseas, or it's Mark Nagata or somebody like that. But I don't hear about it too much. So it just seems like, I don't know, awesome. You should have that stuff. You know, if you can get it, you should get it. If anybody should have it, it should be you. So
Yes.
yeah.
Make it happen, Candie Bolton.
Yeah, Candie Bolton.
Yeah, I'm trying.
We're rooting for
soon.
you.
Okay.
Yeah.
Well, like the pandemic made things difficult too because of like supply chain issues, and then making like shipping more expensive and not being able to get things shipped like from from certain countries in particular. So it just made everything a bit harder. But I hope that I can get one like maybe this year, maybe next year. I don't know.
So you were talking about, you had mentioned that the current direction that this show is inspired by the you know, the experiments you were doing through the Animal Crossing drawings that you had done. And there's some videos on YouTube that are great because that document you actually making these drawings, and it's literally just finger drawing on a tiny, Nintendo Switch screen. Like, was this a super conscious decision to kind of switch things up, to switch directions with what you wanted to do with your art?
Well, it just happened on Animal Crossing because I thought it was funny. I really had fun. It was, I don't know, I just really enjoyed drawing on the bulletin boards. And I found myself like I would stop like painting toys. I would stop doing commissions to do like these random Animal Crossing commissions that were not like making me good money, but I just like thought it was funny doing it. So I like then I realized that I enjoyed it, other people enjoyed it. So maybe I'm like onto something here. And I had kind of shied away from like drawing human like people before. I was mostly drawing like animals and like mythological creatures and stuff. And I really didn't have much of a sense of humor in my work either. And I was like avoiding those things. So I thought that this was like a good opportunity to branch into that. And from there I started to try like doing a few drawings in this similar-ish style to my Animal Crossing stuff, and I would do one for like a group show here and there, and they would always sell, and people got like really excited about it. People enjoyed my work in this style, so it encouraged me to keep doing it.
It definitely kind of reflects a public persona. I think, you're you're, at least, the way I know you, you're pretty fun and, goofy and into weird nerdy shit, and so like I feel like this series of paintings really lend themselves to kind of, showcasing that aspect of your personality. Whereas like the
Yeah.
works that you had done before, with the mythological creature stuff, I mean, it definitely didn't have the sense of humor that, is, obvious, throughout the work that
And these are
you.
like, yeah, they're portraits too. Like these are the fun because they're portraits. They celebrate anime and manga, and yeah, I just think that's kind of cool too. But done in your style.
Yeah, very much so.
Yeah.
It's not so like, I mean, maybe to like people who don't really like look at, anime art or anything like that, I think people who aren't familiar enough with it will look at it and go and think to themselves anime art. But those of us who, like myself, who spend a lot of time kind of consuming that, media, it's not like hardcore, like trying to draw anime style or manga style. It's a little more cartoonish. It kind of feels like a Western lens over an Eastern otaku kind of thing, but then regurgitated with a Western lens, to me. Okay, I it, to a certain degree, it reminds me of like that 1990s like hookups artwork, but done well. Because I never liked the hookups artwork. Like, remember, what I'm talking about, Eric? Obviously, like they advertised in the back of your magazine for forever, and like whoever was illustrating that stuff, like they kind of like got it, but their style was just so heavy-handed all over it, and it was just like, oh, this is really fucking ugly.
So there's two people. There's two people that I know of who did that.
Oh, really?
Early on, there was one person, and then later on, it was a guy named is it Sean Cliver? I think he has a book, like an art book, that's just here's my skateboard graphics, and like a big coffee table book. But yeah, in the beginning, it was a female who was drawing them. So there's actually two different eras of it.
Oh, okay.
Yeah.
I wonder if I could spot the difference between the two.
You'd be able to tell right away.
Oh, really?
Yeah. Two different styles.
I think that the original maybe the latter style was just so heavy-handed with the line.
That was at Sean Cliver is his name.
Right. But like meanwhile, like with Candie, your sensibility for line and form are a lot more, I don't know, delicate, which is kind of like a key aspect of that style of illustration. I don't know.
Yeah, that actually was very clearly an inspiration to me, because I remember seeing the hookups artwork too and thinking like, I like them, I like the spirit of it, but sometimes I would look at them and be like, well, this could have been done a little better.
It's like the hair specifically, the hair and the eyes was like
the eyes much. Weren't. Yeah, the eyes. I don't actually. Can you talk about the eyes that you on your characters? They're pretty intense on these paintings.
Yeah, I thought I'd put the most detail into the eyes and into like that. Just I usually do shade. I wanted to do shading and stuff on them, but I also wanted to like cut back on time. So I was like, okay, for the eyes, I'll just like make those really intense, and that's the most important part, anyways. So I wanted to focus on that. But actually, like I think my hair is pretty unique too on my characters, because like I don't know what compelled me to do it, but I just always do like the like Art Nouveau kind of like noodle hair, and I like to do like weird like basket weaving like patterns with them, and sometimes I do like the hair just like never has an end to it. It just like loops around and stuff. And I don't know if that's particularly like a good part of my art, but I just feel like compelled to do it for some reason. So I've been doing that style for a very long time too. Like I think you can even look back at some of my drawings from like maybe like 8 years ago, and I was still doing it then.
8 years ago.
Yeah, that's a while. Can you talk about what, like, are there certain like, I mean, anime or manga that that are close, that somewhat closely resembles what you're doing? Like, is there something that you're looking at, or is it just amalgamation of many things?
I think it's an amalgamation, but maybe like the anime that I grew up with. And I remember in particular that there seemed to be like when they would do really illustrative versions of the anime characters, then they had a tendency to do the Art Nouveau style hair. Sometimes, like Record of Lotus War would do that, and maybe more of like the shoujo manga creators would do it too.
Would that be for like the covers or just like the first few pages? 'Cause sometimes they have that, right? Or it's a little more detailed, and all of a sudden it breaks into really simple one color.
Yeah, like the covers or just the art books or something. Like I think Clamp might have kind of done that too. Clamp was an influence for me.
Like all the triple X holic stuff, right?
Yeah, and I never really super liked their art style, like the way that they drew anatomy, but there were definitely parts of their aesthetics that I liked.
Yeah. I can never really remember any of um the name of the artists. The names were just always too complicated. And like we were talking on Sunday, and I'm like, oh, this reminds me of that one guy who did this thing, and you're like, oh, you mean so and so, and I'm like,
Yoshitaka Amano.
yeah, and I'm like, oh, okay, cool. I guess I mean that guy. Yeah, but
I did like a whole speech about him for my Asian art studies class in college.
oh
Wow.
Yeah, so yeah, I've always been obsessed with his art.
wow. But wasn't a lot of that stuff was done with watercolor too, if I recall. Any thoughts
Yeah.
on experimenting with mediums like that? It's a tougher medium because you have to learn to kind of just let go, like accept the mistakes.
Yeah, I don't like using watercolors or like even using paper because it's too fragile. So,
Mm,
I mean, I would consider it actually like watercolors is one of the first things that I use. My aunt is a really talented watercolor artist, and so she taught me how to use it when I was like, I don't know, like 5 or 6 or something. And I remember
mm,
experimenting with it then and doing like the salt grain stuff and
Wow.
all of
mm.
that. So I have used it, but I really don't like how it's like you just have to commit to it and commit to your mistakes. And once you make that mistake, there's no going back. That's I like having more control, I guess. Even like with these paintings I did for the show, I did all of the sketch digitally and even worked out the colors digitally on my iPad
Mm.
using Procreate. And I did all of that preparation work before moving on to Canvas because that's how like control obsessed I got about it, I guess. Like I didn't want to make any mistakes or like, and lose time because it was kind of like nerve-wracking, like preparing everything for this.
Oh yeah, no, it's definitely nerve-wracking.
It's one of those things that like I'll get better with over time, but this is one of the first shows that I did where I did a lot of paintings for one show because usually I just do one piece. So this is the
Mhm.
first time that I did multiple paintings and first time using canvas. So I was just yeah, just really trying to learn how to do everything and trying not to make mistakes with it.
Do you
Well,
have
let
a
me.
plan to make your characters more narrative in terms of like a scene type of thing? Is that even crossing your mind yet? Where your character is going to be this big on your canvas that's that big. You know what I'm saying? You'll have, I don't know, backgrounds, neighborhoods, other people. Like, is that a plan yet, or is it still like, are you still trying to like get these giant portraits done?
That would be really cool. I guess, yeah, once I get comfortable with drawing people, then it's like, well, then draw multiple people. And then also after that, then draw backgrounds. And I think that's a really cool idea. And I'd like to do that eventually. Like, I think that I'd probably like take pictures while I'm in Japan of like konbini and stuff, and then use those like as a reference for a background. Like that kind of stuff sounds fun.
Well,
I
oh,
thought
and I guess,
about like
oh, go ahead.
doing stuff like based on memes. Like there's this old computer store in Japan that's now closed down, but it was called Microsoft Bimbos. And I thought that was hilarious. There's like a whole documentary about that store because it's like a ridiculous pun. And I thought it'd be funny to do like the Microsoft bimbos of like girls that are dressed up like that work at that store. I wish I could have done that for this show, but like
Wow.
I'm not good enough at drawing. See, that would involve like drawing multiple characters and a background. So maybe someday.
Yeah, I can't get used to doing backgrounds. just seems like so much work.
Well, I take a lot of inspiration from manga artists, and I've learned that a lot of their backgrounds are just done with photographs, and they take the photograph and like alter it. So I thought I could do something similar, just take a photograph and then alter it to be like just the black and white line art, and then maybe like add whatever colors I want to it, adds like some airbrushing details to it, and then you're done.
Right. Yeah, no, well, I think I've like, I remember like watching like a couple documentaries on that, and I think that there's also like resource books that manga artists use of like, draw with like line drawings of environments, so you can use it as um a reference point to help with vanishing points, perspectives, and stuff like that too. But I'm yeah, that'd be amazing. I'd love to see that. Bimbos would be great. You make that happen, Candie Bolton.
Should I explain the pun more? Because it's like
Sure.
bimbos. Also in Japanese, bimbo means that you don't have much money. So it's funny because it's like a discount computer store. It's like
There,
an extra layer of the pun.
I had no idea. I'm glad that you
Yeah.
explained it. I just knew the Western pun, not
bimbo?
Yeah.
yeah.
I used to get that confused because when I was a kid, I've heard it, and I was like, oh, a bimbo, like because they're singing in Japanese, and I'm like, that sounds like bimbo, and yeah, it just basically like not homeless, I guess exactly, but yeah, pretty poor.
Yeah, I heard it's like a derogatory term. Like it's not a nice word.
I've heard people say it about themselves, like I was like a bimbo kind of a thing, but they're saying it in Japanese, but they're kind of making fun of themselves, like I look like a bimbo type of thing. And I was like, you're a bimbo. All right. But then no, they were just kind of broke or haggard that day or something like that. So yeah.
I think it would be interesting, since you live in Sacramento, to use references of your actual like hometown
No,
to but like try and treat it with like the aesthetic that you enjoy, and then like in a weird way like romanticizing, but kind of also making fun of the where you really are. It's kind of like, oh, so much sad.
just like embracing who I am and where I'm from. But like I mean I live in Sacramento, but I feel like it doesn't necessarily like represent me. I don't know. I don't like have a fondness to it, but like I love going to Japan.
You visited the Bay Area
there,
a lot growing up, right?
Just a little bit.
Yeah, so I mean, like even using like reference images from like San Francisco, like it would be
sounds
funny.
Terrible. It sounds terrible.
Terrible idea. Yeah.
Well, just because, put it this way, Candie told me that you went to Japan 6 times in 2019 or something like that, and why would you paint the streets of San Francisco as your background when you could paint Tokyo as your background?
Because the contrast would be interesting. The contrast of this kind of like humdrum, environment, but then also doing some of the Japanese stuff in contrast to it, but like dropping these kind of character designs over it or interacting with it, like would be, I would think it was compelling.
Luke, that'd be a great idea for your next series.
Oh, I've been
new backgrounds.
I've been taking photos of like my area in downtown Los Angeles, specifically because I think that incorporating like like my living environment into my work would be very telling and then dropping like a tiny little bear somewhere in the you know in these like, it's about like living in Los Angeles for me, because I'm just like a small speck in like the sprawl that is Southern California. And I think that kind of contrast is always is always interesting. It's like if I was if I lived in freaking I don't know, like some corn farm in the Midwest, I think that like but I drew like anime characters, like kind of like that kind of contrast of like Hicksville, but otaku culture, would be interesting to me. Man, I don't know.
Do it. Do it.
But I don't draw. But I don't live. I mean, like I think every artist creates artwork that is um, in some at least the most interesting artworks are in some way autobiographical. And like if you are like unsatisfied with living where you live, then you should illustrate that. You should let people like share like that, because there's people out there who aren't who are just as miserable in their environments, and to see artwork that kind of communicates in one form or another that lack of satisfaction. Like it's kind of like looking at glamour shots on Instagram. Like, who gives a fuck? It's like, great, you're having a great fucking life, go fuck yourself, please. Show me some,
find like
show me something show me something real. Show me something that you're really feeling, instead of like, look at me, I'm blah blah blah, I'm doing this with this person and it's fabulous.
God damn. Whoa.
Fuck those assholes.
Speaking of social media, just a little bit, you started doing reels, and I guess Candie, you've been doing reels, or is that right?
Yeah.
Well, and TikToks.
Yeah, talk about that. It seems like you put a decent amount of effort into it, whereas
yeah. Well, while you're painting and stuff, you're already doing it, so it's like you may as well film it. Sometimes I'm not in the mood to film it, and it kind of like makes things like more difficult, because then you have to be worried of like, does this actually look good? Like, is it going to look satisfying if I'm filming it like this? And then you have to like set up the lighting and stuff. But when I'm like in the mood to do it, then I just take random little videos of whatever I'm doing, and then try to put it together and do like an interesting montage of the whole process. And I did that for the majority of my paintings for this show. I think like almost all of them. And they seem to do pretty well. I post them on TikTok and then reposted them on Instagram as reels. And then shortly after, I got the email from Instagram saying that I can actually make money from it. So that only just started like very recently, I think, with like my last couple reels that I posted. And I actually made some money off of it. So it's like, okay, I guess
Awesome.
I'll keep doing this. It's not a lot, but any bit helps.
Yeah. I I start I started posting reels myself simply because my former studio mate Karen Shao or Miso was doing it, and she does a lot of TikTok stuff too, of like her painting her sculptures and stuff, and she was monetizing it and making a little bit of extra money from it. And I was like I resisted it for so fucking long. I was just like, oh my god, this is terrible, because like you see people doing like these videos, and like they're doing like really nice quick cuts from several different angles, and it's all like nicely lit, or it's at least like well lit, and it's just seems like, I don't know, like, like, so when you're like documenting your stuff, Candy, do you have like a tripod, a tripod and a ring light set up, and you start recording, go to the canvas, start working, and then after a while turn around and go back to the camera and turn it off?
Yeah, so I first started doing this when I was like customizing toys, but for the canvases, then I set up my whole garage to kind of be like a studio for that so that it's easy to film. I have like the whole like mat thing on the ground, and then like a backdrop, and then I have my ring light in
Wow.
there. I have multiple tripods, and yeah, so I'll set all that up. But then once you have it set up, then it's easy to like just, get a bunch of them out there and done.
So are you doing it all with one device? Are you using it with your phone for it, or are
Yeah, I'm
you?
only using my phone to record.
Mhm. And that's an Apple phone.
Yeah. Do you just use your phone?
Yeah, just so the trick that I learned, and I learned it through I learned it through making reels, and was that if you're taking live photos, it records 2 seconds of video footage. And so like I can just like hold I'm left-handed, and so I will hold the phone with my right hand, and I'll put it like around the area that I want to document, and then I'll like grab my brush with my left hand, and I'll, as soon as I start moving my brush around, I'll just start taking pictures. And
Mm.
then I'll just like a way to view the live footage is when you go into photos, you just press on the photo and it'll like play a loop of the um
Yeah,
the
two
live
second
recording.
loop. Yeah.
Yeah. And then it was easy in Instagram because I could just drop them immediately right after taking them into the story. And you know a bunch of 2 second clips adds up after a while. But then I was like having weird issues where it's like it would just like register as a photograph rather than as a 2 second video clip. And I found out that, oh, you can just open up like one of the option buttons, and it'll and save that live photo as a 2 second
Video.
video.
Yeah.
And then it's like to start like just dropping a whole bunch of them in there, and apparently 2 seconds is plenty to kind of convey the amount of the information that you want to convey, because we're all like just,
And your video ends up being like 10 seconds, right? Or something.
yeah.
So, yeah, not even
and,
that long.
and that's enough to like, because if you do it like a 10 or 15 second video, it's like it's plenty. People like you could essentially force people to sit through the entire thing, and then before they swipe to the next one.
Yeah, the
And
quick cuts are really good, like because people get bored so quickly.
yeah, yeah, exactly. There's some like like I spend a lot of time now, like at least especially like before before I go to bed, just kind of thumbing through TikTok videos. And if it doesn't catch me in the first 5 seconds, I'm next, and
Hmm.
um
I do
it's
that too a lot too. Like sometimes I'm like, okay, you're making a point, but you're not getting to the point. Then I'm like, okay, you know what? I'm not going to let you, and I bail.
yeah, yeah,
You
it's
know what I'm
like
saying?
failed next.
Yeah.
So,
Yeah.
and the monetization aspect of it is definitely reinforces me wanting to make more. So yeah, that's
You
I
could
like.
you could set up a tripod and just like film the whole thing or like do a time lapse. Have you thought of doing that?
Yes and no. No, because I have tried doing that. Like, if people watch the way I paint, I think they'd be really disappointed.
But a time lapse would kind of make it condensed, so you might not even see. You might not even notice. It'll just you're watching the piece get done. But then
Sure.
that's a long time lapse. You need like
Oh, but
that.
you can like speed up the time lapse even. I just show like the
Yeah.
first part of time lapse and then do like the end part of it. It's just content, and you don't have to be consciously filming. You just set it up and like then you work. So I find
And
that
that's
helps.
a Go. Is that a GoPro? Like, do you have a GoPro for that, or do you still use
No,
your
no.
phone?
Yeah, I
You
just
can
use
do that
my
with your phone.
phone.
But then you can't use your phone. Like if you,
Yeah, but
your
you're painting, you're working
that's true.
anyways.
Okay.
Yeah, it forces you to like focus on the work.
Oh, I see. I get it.
See, Luke's
Okay.
like, no, no, no. Luke's like, no, 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 no.
No, that's actually a great idea. That's a great idea because I kind of like the reason why I'm apprehensive of doing it is because it would like be 2/3 of the video would be me just hunched over staring at my phone. You know?
But you can't do that if your phone's recording.
Right. So maybe like that can help me like, well, I don't know. We'll see. We'll see. I have the setup. I have I've invested in ring lights and all kinds of tripods and stuff like that. So, you know, maybe that'll like maybe I'll try making that next. Just condense like, hours and hours and hours of like work and procrastination into like, 20 seconds. And,
You could do it
people.
like for when you're doing the backgrounds, because like that would be really satisfying to like see the gradient happen,
Mm,
and it's also like it's not very it's not super like detail oriented, so
right.
it would probably like you probably do it like pretty quickly, I think.
Mm. Yeah, I did a time lapse live painting once when I was in Singapore a couple of years ago, and I've revisited it because I like have it pinned in my Instagram, and I'm like, oh, it came out pretty good. That's pretty cool, But yeah, yeah, I'll think about that. Good idea, Candie Bolton. Anyways, so like, what else have you got coming up, Candie?
Well, as soon as I get back, I need to work on stuff for a show at Black Pearls Gallery that's in Japan. I forgot. I think it's in Tokyo. I forgot where specifically, but it's they sent me a bunch of their toy to paint. The toy's called Happy, but it's like HAPY. It's
Mm,
a very trendy toy right now, and I painted that same toy I think around like April last year, and I
mm.
did. It looks like kind of like a Cupid doll, but then it has like oni horns, and I painted it with like sakura flowers, but kind of in the way that it looks like it has like a tattoo bodysuit. And those are
Oh,
like really
cool.
popular, and
Mhm.
people keep reposting them, even like I think there's a few collectors that just like keep taking photos of them and posting them, and I get to like repost them in my stories every now and then. And then I even heard from the gallery, they said that one of them was stolen from them at the
Oh wow.
gallery. So they want me
Wow.
to paint another one to like replace the one that was stolen.
Are they paying you for the stolen one?
Yeah, they are. And so I'm doing one to replace that one, and then also a new painted series of them. I think I might do something similar-ish because people liked that style so much, and I only did like, I don't know, like 5 of them, so not many people got like a chance to get it. And they also want me to send over some of my own toys, and a painting too. And
Cool.
the theme of this show is like, oh gosh, wasn't recycling, but I forgot. It was something similar to that. And I don't know how I can really work with the theme, but I'm gonna think about it. I have to actually start on it like really soon. Like I should be doing sketches of it like while I'm here, or at least be thinking about it.
But you're relaxing. You need to decompress.
Yeah. Like today, I didn't really do anything. And then we went
So
out for ramen, and that was like all I did.
Did you go to Tsujita?
No, we went to
No.
Venice Ramen. It's called
Hmm.
Venice Ramen. Yeah, we went with Mari Inukai, who I guess she's been there before.
Oh,
Yeah.
was it good?
That was good.
Mhm.
Like highly recommended. Good.
Very. I don't know. I would say it's very good. I don't know about highly recommended. What's highly recommended in ramen for you?
Like, oh, you gotta fucking try this place. It's fucking boom.
No. I mean, where would that be for you? Like, what would you tell? I only could
obviously
I can only think of Tokyo like ramen places. I actually in Japan, but I can't think of anything in America except maybe Tsujita for the Tsukemen.
Yeah, I would recommend Tsujita. I've had people recommend Silver Lake Ramen for me. To me, haven't tried it yet. Let me think.
Ramen's it's so hard.
It is.
Yeah.
Like even like, but I also like the annex, the Tsujita annex, which you don't like.
Yeah, I don't like it.
And I would recommend that one just because, it's a style of ramen that is kind of you really can't find much of.
Super fatty, right? Like it's
super
oily fatty. Yeah.
Yeah.
Candie, how's ramen in Sacramento? Or Sacramento? I'm saying it wrong. There's no T in it.
Talk about that. Are there any Japanese ramen chains that are here that you know of? Like, do they have Afuri?
They do have an Afuri in downtown LA.
Yeah.
So there's an Afuri ramen, but you like Afuri, and which Afuri do you like?
Like which one in Japan?
Oh, I don't know. There's one in Silicon Valley.
I just know that it's a chain in Japan, so I'm interested in trying it here too.
Okay, so I went and I'm disappointed. I love Afuri ramen. I've been eating at those for 10 years in Japan. That's like my place I like, and no. No.
Are there some other chains that are like?
I don't recommend that one at all. In my opinion, yeah, I was very disappointed. It's in the Arts District. Arts District somewhere. There's an Afuri ramen there.
Oh, okay.
Yeah, there's one in the Arts District. There's another one that's a chain that I forgot the name, and it's a huge chain in Japan. People love it there. There's one in Orange County, and I forgot the name of it. I heard that place sucks. So, so from what I understand, the Afuri ramen here in Los Angeles, evidently, is the similar experience to the Afuri ramen. There's one in Portland. And there's one in Silicon Valley, and I hear that those three are similar, but to me they were nothing like what I had in Japan, like very, very far off in my opinion. So, yeah, no, I'd rather eat what I eat today by far. Yeah.
But do you think he just had an off day though? I mean, like people are allowed to have off days.
No. That was their best, man, and that's it. No, I'm serious. I've eaten Afuri ramen so many times in Japan, and this one was just way far off in my opinion. Yeah, and also like you notice in America, the temperature of ramen is not hot. Like they don't make hot ramen like they do in Japan. Did you notice that, Candie?
Yeah.
In general, the heat it's not hot.
Yeah, I'd say the same thing about like Xiaolongbao out here. Like you go to Din Tai Fung and you eat the soup dumplings. When they were originally at the original Arcadia location, they were hot.
It's hot as fuck. Yeah.
Like burn your entire fucking mouth hot.
It's just like eating a piping hot pizza, right? It'll burn your everything, and it's just like that.
It's a delicious burn, But the thing is
you bite the hole and you let it cool off for a second, right? That's sort of part of it. Now you can just swallow the whole thing.
Yeah, right when they serve it to you, and I think it's because too many people were getting burnt. I'm going,
they're afraid of getting sued.
I'm getting burnt. I'm going to sue you guys.
I wonder if that's why the ramen in America generally is not hot enough. It's like that everywhere. It's sort of like I'm like, oh, it's not that hot. Even the ramen we ate today I thought it should have been hotter. That's always what I run into everywhere.
Right.
Yeah.
I think I wonder if you can like ask them like,
make sure the ramen's hot.
Yeah. You know, there. Have you seen the new Kids in the Hall on Amazon?
No, I've never seen the old Kids in the Hall either. Actually,
What? Wait, what?
I never watched it. I know what it is. I never watched it.
Oh, Eric, so much disappointment. Kids in the
It's
Hall is the
okay.
best. It's okay. I loved Kids in the Hall, but there was a skit about things being hot, and but not being hot, and it's something like that. Yeah, I'm wondering if you can like when you order from certain like ramen places that care about their product, if you can like say, can you please make this hot, like hot, not like give it 3 minutes to sit after it's prepared to become safe to
Safe to gargle
American.
with.
Yeah.
Yeah.
I wonder. We should try that next time I go to a ramen place. I'll ask, make it hot, please.
Awesome.
And and I'll report in, and I'll say like, no, they don't do that.
Right, Candie. What are the other spots you go to in Japan, especially for food? Where do you go? Because I know. Okay, so that means you've eaten at Afridi Ramen in Japan, right?
Yeah.
Yeah. Okay.
Well, I really like Ichiran, and I know that's kind of like fast foodish ramen. Like some people are just like, oh, that's very like. There's just so many tourists there, but I like it. I even get like I buy the boxes of it, like the dried ramen, from Amazon, and the instant. I buy that.
They have that.
And
I've seen that at the markets here. Actually, some markets have
it's
it.
here. I
Yeah,
should like
I've seen it.
buy some and fly back with it.
Oh, we can do
Yeah.
that.
Yay. Okay. Yeah, I like Ichiran because you can customize the broth. So like if it's bad, then it's your fault probably. And you can add like extra egg and chashu and stuff. The chashu actually Ichiran is just like it's just okay. It's just there. But my other favorite is I think it's Tanaka Soba Ten, and it's in Akihabara, and they have like amazing chashu. That's the best part of it. Also the broth is really good.
Cool.
Yeah, I think
Awesome.
there's one more, like I forgot the name, but it's a chain and it's really common, and I forgot the name of it, but I used to go there too. I forgot it. It's been too long now. It's been like, yeah, over 2 years since I've been there.
There's a did you eat at Rokurinsha? Do you ever try that? Is
No.
that that's a chain also, but they have tsukemen, and then they actually have one at Haneda Airport. So if you're leaving Haneda, like from Haneda Airport, they actually have one there, so you can actually get that, and it's tsukemen. So it's kind of like how I figured out that Tsujita is pretty legit because it's sort of similar. Like at first I thought, oh, Tsujita is kind of like some really Americanized fake thing. I had no idea. And then I had Rokudincha, and I was like, oh, there's a similarity in flavor. So then I realized, oh, Tsujita's pretty legit. So yeah, very cool.
Where are they?
Oh, there's a Tsujita close by. Rokudincha though is all over the. I think there's a bunch in Tokyo. They don't have any of those here. There's none. But that's like kind of like I think the standard, a high standard for tsukemen in Japan. Unlike the place you mentioned, Luke, Daikoku.
Where they
Like I
use the
said,
same ramen broth.
Yeah, they just deconstruct the ramen.
Yeah, it's just deconstructed ramen. It's like soup on the side, ramen. It's sad. It's what
So
can you do?
one thing we could have done or did is if we did this podcast, would have been interesting after seeing the Murakami show, which we're going to see in a couple days, or possibly. But yeah, then because we haven't seen it, but I'm kind of wondering what we could talk about that. But I was like, oh yeah, we didn't see it yet.
We should do like an Instagram live.
Oh yeah.
While we're there, and
Sure.
just like broadcast ourselves, on the Robot and the Bear Instagram.
live from the Broad bathroom. Robot and the Bear.
Robot and the Bear.
I'm just kidding.
It's just the bear right now, but we'll get the robot on soon. Yeah, no, it will, yeah, we should. Well, that's one of the things that I had been meaning to do with with the Instagram was to do more like live stuff. When we're especially like your openings and stuff, and talk to people, and
Are you gonna do that? Put people on the spot. Hey, what do you think? Like that.
yeah, basically, just to like make them feel really uncomfortable. But I eventually, it's tough. It's like social media is so hard. I'm because it's literally like a job in itself.
Sure. How often do you post, Candie?
Well, when it's really bad, I only post like once every 2 weeks. I think it's like particularly hard for artists because we tend to be introverts, and it's really hard to want to be like, look at what I'm doing, isn't it so cool? And like doing self promotion, it's really hard because I just get in a mood where I feel like everything that I'm doing looks terrible and I don't want to show it to anyone, and I'm just like unmotivated, like to even like just barely work on my artwork, and then to also like take a good picture of it and post it and to show it to people, like sometimes that's too much for me. So I really struggle with it. Like I try to at least post like once a week or something, if not more, like especially when I'm doing an event or promoting something, or like doing like selling stuff online. Like right now actually I minted some of my first NFT that released
Ooh.
this Saturday to celebrate the opening of the Eternal Ephemera show. And so those were released. I've done kind of a bad job at promoting those. I need to do a better job at
Fine.
it, but
You posted a lot of stuff relatively though, so
I
it's all good.
guess I don't
Yeah.
know. I feel like I could do better, but it's asking a lot because it's like I'm creating the artwork and like doing all of like the logistics behind that, like shipping and everything, and then I also have to promote myself and like doing like mailing lists, sending stuff out to blogs, like I should be doing all of that, and um I'm not, and then I feel bad when I don't. So it's like just the whole cycle of feeling bad about myself, and
Mm.
that's what I struggle with like
So,
constantly.
tell me
It's
about the
actually like
NFT.
torture.
Tell.
The So I have six one of ones that I released that are the paintings that were at the show, minus the nurse girl, because that one was finished very last minute. And I think I have three sold already, so there's only four left. But it's not just the NFT, you get physical rewards, there's utility to them. So I'm just kind of feeling out if people are interested in buying my NFTs in general. So anyone who buys my one of one NFTs will automatically get every NFT that I release from here on out for free. And they will also
Wow.
get a print of the artwork that they that is the NFT that they purchased, that it's that image. And they also get a custom kitsura, and I give them like this little Google Doc to fill out, and they can specify like what color they want it to be and like what imagery they want on it, and I'll paint it for them.
It's a lot.
And then
That's a
I also
lot of
have
perks.
Yeah, and then I also have another NFT that is a free one. It's free, and you just have to pay like the minting cost for it. And this will be available to mint for the next, well, available to mint for a period of 7 days. So starting on Saturday and it ends on the next Saturday. And you can pick like whichever, you can wait for like the gas price fees to be cheapest for when you want to mint it. Like I know one person said that they minted it and it only cost them $2 to do it, and what they get is like the NFT itself is kind of like a flyer promotion for the show. It has my artwork on it, and then they also get entered into a lottery for a chance to win a print of mine.
Wow. Awesome.
Mm.
Value
Wow.
added. More
Yeah.
value added. Yeah, yeah.
Yeah.
Were you working with someone to like develop like a smart contract or anything like that, or were you going with like a straightforward contract that, like that say like Rarible or OpenSea offer?
My collection, the one of one collection is on OpenSea, and the other one has its own minting page. But I'm working with a company that helps me mint it. And we're just kind of working and seeing like if this is something that I want to do more of, if they want to work with me more. So yeah, I'm really just like feeling it out to see if this is something that I want to get into.
Are the NFTs, since you created the foundation of the paintings that you are showing right now from um, Procreate, these NFTs of the actual digital files, the Procreate files, or are they of photos of the paintings?
They're actually photos of the paintings, and I had asked them if they wanted to use the digital artwork just to like make it distinct from the paintings, but they wanted it to be the actual paintings. And in this case, it kind of works out because the print that they're receiving is also like the exact same image.
Okay. Yeah, I have some ideas for the utility aspect of NFTs that I would like to, try and, you know, figure out how to do, but I'm not even sure if like what I want to happen is even possible.
Like what?
So for utility, I want people who own the NFT to have exclusive access to being able to purchase a physical print. So even if it's traded, sold to another person, that person can be able to purchase a print of that NFT directly from me, as opposed to just giving it to the person who originally buys it. And maybe there could be limitations like, oh, each owner of said NFT is limited to 10 prints of it, so they have the monopoly of that print, and so they can be able to, but they have to buy them directly from me. So no matter what, I can be able to continue making money off of the NFT, not just on the
royalty,
but for people who want to, like, and then those people can make money off the prints by reselling the prints to people who would be interested in having that image as a print. I don't know if someone knows if I could be able to do that, contact me. LukeChueh@gmail.com.
So Candie, what did you have fallout from doing an NFT?
Yeah, there's someone who posted in my Discord that they did not like that I, started doing this. And I think I lost some followers on Instagram as well. I haven't even like very like directly posted about it. I haven't been very heavy-handed about the advertising of it on Instagram because I'm aware that that space looks upon it very negatively. So I've mostly been promoting it like on Twitter and on my Discord. And yeah, but it's still a controversial thing, and I think there's a lot of misinformation out there, and people are trying to demonize it. So there's a lot of negativity around it. Yeah, depending on like what space you're like talking about it in and what platform.
What kind of misinformation do you think is being spread amongst your fan base about NFTs?
Well, I don't know if it's my fan base in particular, but just the NFT space in general. But I know that a big talking point is about how much like energy they use And I think that it's fair to criticize the energy use of NFTs, but I think that the numbers that they throw out there are very exaggerated. And in most cases, they're talking about the blockchain as a whole and not just NFTs. So if you're criticizing the energy use of the blockchain, then you should also be like, you should also be criticizing like cryptocurrency along with the NFTs. And also, in general, though, like if you're going to split hairs about like, well, this is bad for the environment because it uses electricity, then it's like, well, a lot of things use electricity. Like, I'm sure like everyone's using a bunch of electricity right now. And actually, like, even just posting a tweet, posting something on Instagram, that all has its cost as well. So if you're against energy use, like Twitter uses a lot of energy, Facebook uses a lot of energy, everything has its cost. And so you have to like pick your battles, I think.
I wonder why it got that way, though. It's just so weird. Like
I think it's just like the only negative thing that they could find about it. So people jumped on it. But it's funny because like I saw an artist that was getting some heat for it, and they're like, why? Like people are being negative about it and commenting and saying like, why would you do this? Why can't you just release a print instead? And it's funny because like a print is like ink on paper that was a tree, and then you package the print and you like put it in a cardboard box and then you ship it. It goes on a truck, it burns fossil fuels, and then it goes on a plane, and then it gets on another truck, and then it gets delivered to you. So it's like which
and then you frame it using
energy?
more wood. You frame it using more wood.
Yeah. Yeah. So, and it's like if you break it down though, like consumerism sucks and always has a downside. So it's like that's the bottom line, and NFT is more just consumerism and capitalism and buying goods and selling goods, and there will always be a negative side to that.
Yeah.
Well said. Well said, for sure.
People, if you don't want to like something, they'll always find a reason not to like it. So I haven't heard. I've had a couple of NFT releases, but I've never really heard too much.
They're scared of you. I don't know. They just probably know that you're gonna say "fuck you," I don't give a fuck, or you're gonna, like. I think your response might be something like that. I think they can already picture your face going, "I don't care, fuck you, I don't care." I think they might try to say something to Candie because maybe they'll think, "Oh, she's gonna get upset. Perfect, I'll say it," or I'll make her upset. But Luke, I think you have the DGAF thing going on. So
what's that?
Don't give a fuck. Well, like, I mean, I'm saying, like, I have a feeling it's like, what, you're gonna say something bad about Luke, and you're just gonna look at it and go, "Well, too bad, delete." I'm gonna unfollow you first. I just picture the way you would handle it would be like that. I'm gonna go to Kazunori and I'm gonna go to Kazunori and eat some hand rolls. Thank you. Bye.
It's like, I'm gonna take that ETH. I'm gonna freaking sit on it and hope that it actually makes money.
Yeah, there you go.
And of course it won't. But anyways, guys, I do have to get back to work. But let's try and do an Instagram live.
Instagram live at the Murakami Show.
At the Murakami Show. It'll be fun.
All right.
And we'll talk about how we feel about it, and maybe won't say some nice things. It'll be funny.
It'll be funny.
That's awesome. I would only critique because of how much I love. It's if I didn't really give a shit about it, then I don't have anything to say. It's not even worth talking. Anyways, guys.
Cool. All right.
It's good. When was the last time we did one of these?
About
a
year ago. I don't know.
Oh my gosh, it's been.
I don't know if I don't know if it's been that long. A little less than that.
I'm trying to think of when the Kelly Sucks show was.
Yeah, maybe it was less than a year ago.
Okay,
yeah.
So that was last year. Kelly Sucks was last year.
Yeah.
Oh my gosh. Well, congratulations, Candie Bolton. You brought us back from the dead.
You're welcome.
All righty, guys.
Okay.
Thanks for tuning in.
And do people follow both of your Instagrams? Should people do that?
They can.
What's the second one? Everyone knows the first one, right? It's just Candie Bolton.
Yeah, it's just my name, Candie Bolton, and then I have a personal account, but it's not private or anything. Anyone can follow me on there, and I don't even remember what it is. It's like Candie B _ on Instagram. Yeah.
And
where do they find you on OpenSea? Just Candie Bolton?
Yeah, I think if they just search my name, but if they want, they can go to my Twitter and it has all the information there. Yeah.
And your Twitter is?
Candie Bolton.
I mean, if you search Candie Bolton, you'll find it. I think it might be like Candie _ Bolton.
Okay.
Because Luke got the Candie Bolton with no underscore, but don't tell her.
Yes, I grabbed that one. I'm like, someday she's going to want this.
Thanks a lot.
That's like how I own at Giant Robot.
But... we don't even have the Twitter for that. We have Giant _ Robot.
But you are verified there, right, Eric?
I think so. The person who has Giant Robot, we actually met them before, and they wouldn't give it to us. So,
wow.
Dicks.
Yeah, but I mean, I met them in like long ago. But yeah, oh well.
I wonder if they're using it.
Probably badly. Anyway, okay, badly. Anyways, cool. Have a good evening. Guys. We'll see you soon.
Yes. Okay. You guys have a good night. Thank you, and thanks for tuning in.
See you later.